Tag Show. Tag Show. That's gonna leave a mark, Taylor.
That's undisputed because I'm undisputed. Hey, what's going on, everybody? You are listening and watching another episode of the Mixed Tag Show with
Jenna and
Blue.
What's up, pal?
What's going on? What's going on? How are you?
I'm good. It's another fantastic, blessed week. You know, same old.
Yeah.
Trying to keep it short because we're trying to, like I said, keep these episodes short. So don't want to go too much since you say I like to go on and on and on.
Quick shout out to my son for his first birthday this past week. Hit one.
Shout out to young Azul.
Yeah.
Well, maybe Azul the third, maybe
second, right?
the third. You have your other son.
So real quick, when me and my wife was talking about like when we would name this third kid, right? Well, our fourth kid, if it was a boy, I'm like, hey, you want to just call him Junior? Like, she's like, that'd be kind of messed up to the other two.
Well, no, not necessarily. I mean, a lot of families do that. Like the firstborn isn't necessarily Junior. They might decide, it's not necessarily messed up. It's just that it came to you for that.
Yeah, I don't want the other two to jump this one.
They're gonna
jump like, word. How come you get to be?
I think they'll be okay. That's not their name, but okay.
But we were just talking about that. I thought that was funny that she felt that way because I thought too, like, it was the third child. It's fine. Like the third boys, all right, whatever. Anyway, I bet I should have 3 boys. That'd be kind of weird.
Listen, some people it be like that. Some guys just spit out girls, some guys, and then it's just all boys. It may be a thing.
Yeah, we seen this thing where this report where this lady had non-tuplets, like with his 9 babies, non-tuplets, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was like 5 girls and 4 boys. I'm like, yo, I don't know how you gonna live. That's wild. But yeah, let's get into the show. Let's start off with. Want to start with Hit Row?
Yeah, sure.
He's on it.
Hold on, I'm sorry. I'm trying. I'm listening. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So this past Friday, Hit Row debuted on SmackDown as promised. I believe they had a match as well. I didn't really watch SmackDown. I heard it was like horrible.
I wouldn't say horrible. Good.
Well, yeah, I'll comment on that in a second. But yeah, so there was reports that now that Swerve and Adonis is a tag team and Top Dollar is a single competitor and B-Fab is a single competitor. Did you see that report as well?
I haven't seen that report, no.
But
so that is supposed to be
Adonis and Swerve as a tag team.
Okay.
And then Top Dollar as a single competitor and B-Fab as a single competitor.
I heard that it was supposed to be the Top Dollar and Swerve were going to be the ones that are pushed as the tag team, and I don't know what they're going to do with B-Fab and what's the other one's name?
Adonis.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do with that.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Either way, this takes away. This is why I had a hiccup with this. Remember, I was like, I don't know if I really like this idea, because it was just more like this whole group was focused around Swerve. This is like Swerve's clique, like, his formation of a team. And then now we get to the main roster and you're changing the dynamics, because I've never seen a leader be part of a tag team and lead a group. You know what I mean? You might tag from here to there, but your focus is singles. You know what I'm saying?
Kind of like how Undisputed, like obviously the leader of the group was Adam Cole, but they were obviously the tag teams like that.
Yeah, they're interchangeable.
Well, it seemed like I agree, especially Isaiah Swerve should definitely be the leader of the group, and he's put in numerous amount of years into like his popularity and his work. Not to discredit the other
Of
ones
course
in the
not.
group, but it just seemed like, especially these past couple of weeks, especially with the little I want to say ongoing beef, but when Top Dollar made his little I
His
don't
comments on the
controversy.
on other company.
Not even necessarily making he didn't make necessarily a comment, just the sneaker industry in general, which he wasn't wrong. But anyway, that's another subject for another day. I feel like there's a lot of
No, we can talk
momentum in
about
it.
it because that was just happened this week. It's
That
all
wasn't
part of
this
it.
week. It was
Yes, it
last
was.
week.
Well, it's
So,
still what I mean is it's still like a part of it. Like
no, I get it. It's just that I don't want to spend too much time, and I feel like, and the reason why I said I didn't want to get into it because that's really like indulging or in regards to the sneaker community. And this is not a sneaker podcast, like you know what I mean? Because you
no,
know
it's
how
part
my
of
sentiment.
wrestling. It's part of wrestling. Let it rock. Let it fly, sneakerhead. Go
Yeah,
ahead, sneakerhead.
I it's just my people were up in arms in regards to this whole sneaker debate, and it's like most people are getting mad or whatever, and it's like the Young Bucks are, and I love the Young Bucks, but they're hype beasts, like, and that's generally what a lot of people are. You see Kenny Omega wearing Jordans, even CM Punk, and this is no discredit to CM Punk, but he said growing up he never bought Jordans or whatever because they were too expensive, and then all of a sudden now he's on Complex buying two pairs of J's, and it's just like what the word I'm looking for is like what makes you that you can be on, you know what I'm saying, be on Complex and talking about sneakers when you don't know. I'm not saying he doesn't know because obviously he's from Chicago, so he knows what Michael Jordan did for basketball,
Basketball.
etc. But if you're not you were never in the sneaker culture. It's you know what I mean. It just seems it's just like appropriation with not even in wrestling, just a lot of today's generation. They know nothing about sneakers and everybody just likes off whites or Jordan ones or Yeezys or whatever collabo.
All
But
right.
you look at my closet, you won't see anything like that's coming out now, right? Because I've been
Right.
doing this since 2004, right? So
Right.
going that's why I said I was going off on a tangent. I feel like Top Dollar made, he talked this shit. It's true. It is what it is. And you can't be mad. And then, the Young Bucks, changing their bio every second, trolling. And it's like, that it's not the flex that you thought it was because ultimately, at the end of the day, you guys sound like hype beasts talking about you spent X, Y, and Z more than what NXT superstars making. It's like, yo, but you still overpaid for sneakers. So that was my thought on it. So with that
So
said, that
real quick. So here's the thing about that, right? That's what the Young
mm,
Bucks do. They purposely, if you watch
I get it.
the being elite, this is
I get
purposely
it.
what they do. It was never a situation where they're like, "Yo, we're sneakerheads." Their thing is they're that's their joke. Is like, "Yo, we're overpaying for sneakers because we can." Like that's their whole shtick. With
And
Chicago,
I get it.
with CM Punk, it was more so like a situation with Chicago. That's why he bought, Jordan ones, what Jordan meant to him, not being able to afford it. And even after that, when he did the complex situation, of course, that was like an AEW situation to bring more eyes to the product. The very next show, he gave the sneakers away to a kid on the side.
And I get it. That's why I've said I'm not knocking it or saying,
Yeah, I'm just
oh,
saying. I
try
just
to
wanted to say
gatekeep
that.
it. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right. I just wanted to say that because a lot of people was getting mad that day. Was saying, fuck the Young Bucks and all this other stuff. I'm like, yo, like y'all fall for their shenanigans every week.
I understand that, but even prior before the whole trolling thing, before the Young Bucks started really really trolling and getting back on their heel shit, they were buying J's, and again, it's just what I'm. It's not even a slight at them. It's just the today's society. It's the cool thing to do.
Right.
It's the cool thing for everybody to buy sneakers, but don't know the history or the culture
Appreciate it.
behind it. That's what my thing is. So I don't necessarily, Top Dollar was talking this shit. And listen, you got to make a name for yourself. Social
Right.
media is obviously a big thing nowadays. You got to make a name for yourself. So I missed that conversation because like I had took my little social media hiatus, but it's just like everybody's getting mad, this, that, and they're like, y'all not even sneakerheads. Like,
Yeah.
it's
That's what
just
I'm
like,
saying. That's
you
why I
know,
say everybody want to join the conversations that sometimes they're not supposed to be in, or it goes over their heads. Like,
right.
I'm pretty sure at the end of the day, Top Dollar and Young Bucks would laugh at this leader on together, and like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is what they do. They're on Twitter to have fun, and then everybody takes it to like the next level, and they're just like,
Right.
you guys, y'all not getting paid with these people. Like, why are we arguing about like what's what? They know they're not sneakerheads. They're not claiming to be sneakerheads, and Top
Yeah.
Dollar knows that, and he's, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's poking fun, like, you know what I mean? But I also think that the reason why Top Dollar is probably a prize in Vince McMahon's eyes is because of his you know, he's a big man. Vince loves big men, and then two, he did the stuff with
The
AMC with the treasure joints.
the hidden treasures. Yeah, I was gonna say that too. So
So
it just
yeah,
makes
so
sense.
I see
Uh,
it, but I just, you know, for me, I feel like I hope Swerve don't get lost in the sauce because of
I
this.
hope I hope not either. And I, you know, I love. I'm an advocate of. We both are advocates of women's wrestling, and I would love to see BFAB, you know,
Right.
make strides. But like, this is what I think we've had this conversation, or maybe I said this on Twitter. I truly felt outside of Isaiah Swerve, I felt that they still needed time on NXT.
They
I
did.
think they not only that, but BFAB too. I
She had like
love
two
her,
matches, right?
something like that. But outside of that, I love her look, like aesthetically, like what how she looks. I just don't think she had. You know how like when you can associate again. You know what Sasha's gonna wear in regards to ring attire. You know what Bianca's
Right.
gonna wear in ring attire. I don't think she's established that just yet.
Right.
In the sense, like I get in regards to like outside ring attire, cool, but in regards to in the ring, um, it's and I don't want to disrespect anybody because you know one thing is said and I don't want to
They're
say
taking that out.
yeah, I don't want to say it's generic, but it's just like I want to see
Stand out.
gear. Yeah, I want you to like, and her look is her look in regards to, you know, she's a beautiful woman, braids, everything. You already stand out in that sense. Now it's just a matter of finding your identity in regards to your gear. That's more so
Right.
what I'm trying to get at. So I feel like all that comes in NXT. You find yourself in regards to your look, how you want to, talk your shit and your wrestling style. But hopefully they get that chance on the main roster. I'm doubtful because we know how it is when people get called up from NXT or wrestlers get called up from NXT. It's not, you don't have that learning curve. That learning
Nope.
curve was supposed to be in NXT.
Yeah.
So, I mean, listen, we move everything black here, so I'm hoping for the best at the end of the day
Yeah.
with the faction.
In a sidebar, shout out to Mello. Mello just cashed in his contract on the North American champion at
Carmelo
the time with
Hayes, yeah,
Swerve. Yeah,
yeah.
Carmelo. I just felt like, why didn't he just go for the NXT title? Why would you, the North American title? That was my only gripe
A
with
lot of
that.
a lot of people said that, but I feel like again, this is you're a new talent. I equate this in regards to the main roster. And back in the day, remember when people were up and coming, you go for the mid card title and then you go for the main title. I don't have a problem with that. He went with the
Yeah, but then it's more of like, it's not. I know it wasn't his decision. That's the problem. Like,
so
why do
yeah.
you see him as a North American champion and then you putting Braun Breaker already in the title picture? That was my whole look
I,
at it.
I hear what you're saying, but listen, I'm not. I get it, but outside of that, I think in the long run it'll help Carmelo as opposed to, um, um,
A quick
uh,
shot.
yeah, you know what I mean. It because there's still a lot of work that he has to do. He's great in regards to in ring ability and just very charismatic and a standout, but a lot of people feel he needs to work on his promo still, right? So these are all the things that come along with probably having a mid card title. So and he's I feel like he has a bright future as well. So this is just it is what it is in regards to at least he got the title. So
Yeah, but I just don't want us to keep settling because I know they was trying to say North American title is the most blackest title and da 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 da. I'm like, yo, like, first of all, the sport title is out there. Trisha Doris carried that title very well. Second of all, always getting a second place title is not always a great thing. Like, this is not a good accomplishment. Like, this is back to the U.S. title. This is back to the IC title. Like,
but again, I just feel like again going back to the days of uh WWE in the 90s and 2000s, that was the thing. You didn't go straight to the heavyweight title. You went to the mid card. When you're a
And that's
newer talent, you went to you were dabbling with the mid card titles and tag team titles until you finally got pushed as a main event superstar. So I don't see the issue with it.
I no, I
If
get that.
if you
I
if you
get that.
tell me that's where he stays his home time and he doesn't ever, then I hear
Well,
you.
well, that's what history shows. Because the past, North American champions, we had like 6 or 7 black North American champions, and only two black NXT champions. You know what I'm saying? Like the history shows
Listen,
that that's
I
what's going to
mean,
happen. Because look at Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa. They won the North American. Adam Cole. They won the North American Championship and went on to the NXT Championship. That's not the same route that goes for these black champions. That's what I'm looking at. You know what I'm saying? Like,
listen, I'm everything black, and I hear you. At this point we can give it some time. I'm just happy he won a title, and it seems like they're gonna push him. Let's
let's
see.
see what
Maybe
happens.
let's see. This is NXT 2.0. Maybe they decide to change it up. I don't know. This is not a knock on you. I'm saying the same way we give AEW or whatever like the benefit of the doubt. Let's see what they do in this situation. Like I can't sit here and be like and annoyed. And it just started in regards to there's this new era in regards to NXT and them giving him a title and giving him his time. Let's just see how it goes. If a month
Okay,
or 6 months from now that's not the case, then we can talk about it and use our platform to say we want better for black superstars.
I'm gonna bookmark this
Okay.
episode 2. Episode 2.
Okay. Listen, I'm not telling you you're wrong.
Why not?
I'm
No,
all
no,
I'm
no.
saying
I'm
is, you
picking
know what I
on you. It's
mean?
fine. It's fine. I'm
I'm
picking
just
on you.
saying, like, yo, let's give it some time.
And speaking of opportunities, the TBS Women's Championship was presented. The brackets was released. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 buys between Thunder Rosa, Jade Cargill, Nyla Rose, and Chris Statlander. And then we have the usual brackets on the other end. When this first came out, I definitely said, I was not filling this bracket.
Mm.
And this goes back to giving women more chances. You know what I mean? Why do you have 4 buys? What made
Exactly.
them? What made them deserve these buys? Right?
Exactly.
And then 2, there's so many people that's missing from the list.
Yep.
Like Layla's
Yep.
missing, Big Swole's missing, Diamante's missing. The amount of people that's missing, you could have made a whole nother side of the bracket and make this a 16, whatever. Was it 16 or what's this? 1, 2, 2, yeah, 16 competitors bracket. You have NWA at disposal. You have Impact at disposal. Well, the word is that the partnership is paused for now between that, but that was the issue. I'm looking like you have all this space to do all these things, and you're leaving out a lot of big names that could have benefited from this tournament. Like, I
agree
love that the
1,000%.
title's coming out, but
I
what are
agree
we doing?
1,000%. And this is not me bashing AEW, but this is what I'm saying in the sense, and this is not you. I'm just saying fans in general. Like, we want to pick sides, like, oh, AEW does everything great, and WWE does this, or WWE is this, and
No.
then AEW doesn't do this, and it's just like each promotions have their flaws, and this is a glaring flaw that we still continue to have with AEW in regards to women wrestling. And listen, WWE did the same thing with
Sure.
Crown Jewel. So not Crown Jewel, the Queen's
Queen Servant.
Queen's Crown tournament. So you would think, especially when I see Tony Khan always wanted to elevate and go head to head and battle and talk his shit. This is the prime example for you to show that you doing things better than WWE, and you're not doing that. Like you said, there shouldn't be 4 buys. I thought I missed something in the sense of like, oh, well, maybe it was because of
They want to match or something?
yeah, maybe it was because their record in dark or elevation or whatever. I'm like, but how does that? You know what I mean? And like you
Like
said,
Curly.
people like Big Swole is like Big Swole has never still. She still hasn't gotten her like real shot at a title. Because she had her illness or whatever the case might be,
She
and
had to
then
pause for a bit. Yeah.
So when it doesn't that tell you, all right, she's good, she's better now. At least I believe that she's better now. Let's get her back into the swing of things. Like I don't under I don't understand how you think this is like progressive in regards to women's wrestling in your company. That
Right.
and again is so what is it going to be? Like the Queen's Crown tournament and WWE 2 3 minute matches and we move on and then we just pick pick and then we have the title match. Like like you said, there's so many women wrestlers that they can pick from, not only just in their company, from but other promotions. This is a very lazy attempt to be, in my opinion, progressive, especially when people have been getting at you in regards to women's wrestling in this promotion. So
I
I
mean, they
agree
have.
with you 1,000%.
I mean, they have been doing better with the women's promotion, and I don't think they're gonna pull a little Prince Crown tournament with like 2 minute matches. But
I understand.
they definitely like this was a good, like you said, this is a good spot where you could have expanded on what you've been building, kind of in a
I
sense,
mean,
right?
I guess, but when I look at Dynamite and Rampage, and I didn't get to watch Saturday or last week. But when I watched Rampage, there's one women's wrestling. There's only one women's match, so
Well,
it's like
Rampage is
it's
only 3 matches. I
I
understand.
under, I understand that, but for that matter, it could have been two women's matches as opposed to one, and one men's match as opposed to one women's match. I don't know. Like I'm not trying to nitpick or anything, but in regards to this tournament, it's cool. It's great that we have another women's title, a singles women's title at that, but it just came off as a lazy attempt
Yeah,
to try
definitely.
to quote unquote push the agenda that we're being progressive in regards to women's wrestling.
Yeah, like I said, they could have built better off of this one of what they've been doing the past couple weeks because the women do have been getting a lot more segments, a lot of storylines are going through. I think it's like 3 storylines or 4 storylines on the main roster happening right now,
Mm-hmm.
including Sheeta's 50th win and Serena Deeb's stopping that. That was one of the storylines. So it's gonna be interesting because I think in their first round as well to see that whole feud continue. Yeah, so
Yeah.
again, they could do a whole lot better with this bracket in general. Not staying too long on this. That was basically the concept behind that.
Mm.
Speaking of the women, you want to go to Saudi? You want to go to? Let's go to Saudi first, right? Because
Yeah, let's just yeah,
let's
yeah,
save the juice for the end.
yeah.
Shout out
Um,
to how was the Saudi pay per view? I heard it was good. I heard it was great. I heard it was better than All Out. I'm like, all right, like what is happening here?
I wouldn't necessarily. I wouldn't. It was a great pay per view. It was like the presentation. It was like Saudi's WrestleMania essentially, and
All right,
the past couple of years we've been very critical in regards um critical we've been very yeah, in the sense of
anti.
just being anti Saudi, um and whether it's because of like politics or because there wasn't enough women's wrestling. This year we had two women's
2 matches.
matches, and so this that's why I was like, you know what, I'm gonna watch. Plus my favorites were in it. Like I'm gonna
Right.
watch, and they delivered. Again, sometimes we gotta give WWE their credit. They delivered, and there was no hiccups in regards to traveling. They made it back to SmackDown and everything, but yeah, from top to finish, Edge and Steph. I was gonna say Christian again. Edge and Steph could be match of the year. Honestly,
I heard about that.
each match that they had, this trilogy has been awesome. But this Hell in a Cell match was fantastic. The feud
I
was
haven't looked at that one.
amazing. The feud was amazing. Um, Mr. Saudi himself, Monster versus Mustafa Ali. That was a good match. The everything, the King's Court, not the King's Court, the King of the Ring match between Finn and Xavier.
Hey, shout out to
He
King
was
Woods.
Shout out to King Woods. It was very well deserved. I know a lot of people felt like Finn should have won just because Finn
The
also,
swerve.
not even a swerve, but just Finn needs that moment.
Yeah, he needs it.
But Xavier, excuse me, King Woods needed it just because Kofi has achieved so much, and now Big E's obviously achieving so much, which he had a pretty decent match with Drew. He needed that. right? And shout out to Zelina Vega, Queen from Queens. She won. You know what I mean? And I thought that was a great pick, and I hope they continue like that win for her is good for her, especially
Right.
specifically for her character. So I hope they utilize that and not just it was just a win. You know what I mean? They continue with it. Um, and yeah, the triple threat match between Sasha, Becky, and Bianca again it's so surreal just to know in 2018, literally on our podcast, we were like bashing WWE in regards to going to Saudi Arabia, and they were remember they weren't promoting Evolution heavy. They just kept promoting um I don't know if it was called Crown Jewel or if it was called the Greatest Royal Rumble. I forget what was the pay-per-view called in 2018, but nonetheless they kept promoting that and
Right.
putting Evolution by the putting it to the side. And to think that was the case a few years ago to now a women's match co-main eventing, right?
Yeah.
So that was awesome just to see
Real
how.
quick,
And then the crowd. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Shout out to Kofi Kingston. He just found out that he's gonna have a little girl on the way. So shout out. I just wanted to put that in before before I forget. That's
Yeah,
the word.
cool. Before I forgot. Yeah, congratulations to Kofi. But yeah, and again, ironically, he's gonna have a girl. In
Yeah.
regards to the women, it was so cool to see because you hear in regards to other countries how women may be viewed. So just to see that the Saudi crowd was so behind the women wrestlers and engaged the whole time. This is awesome. Throughout the whole night, they was like, "This is awesome." But to see that was super dope. To see the fans chant for Sasha's music. When the part he goes when Snoop goes hell, and they were like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
I've never heard that before. So I was like, "That's
Yeah.
dope." Becky, they were cheering for Becky, Bianca. Like it was a dope thing to see, and the match was really good. A lot of people thought it was incredible and might be better than WrestleMania 32 between Sasha, Becky, and Charlotte. I didn't think so, just because everything that happened with WrestleMania 32 and the whole women's revolution or Divas Revolution and the whole nine. So I wouldn't take it that far. I thought it was a little sloppy at some points, but it was a good match. When you have three women on their level, it's you're gonna bound to have a good match. And there were spots where Sasha and Bianca were great. Like, just we need to see part two between them.
Yeah.
It was a really good pay-per-view.
Uh,
When you get the chance, definitely watch it.
the only thing I didn't like was I followed it by reading. I was at work, so I just read
Yeah.
it along.
Mm.
I just didn't like a few of the outcomes, like Bill Goldberg beating Bobby Lashley. So it's just like you
Yeah.
build up Bobby Lashley all these years to still lose not all these years, but this past year, just to lose to Bill Goldberg.
Yeah, but you also have to understand, not to, I'll let you finish your point, but in the sense of with that too, like one of the things I tweeted was like, Bobby about to lose to this man, like, isn't he? And people were like, yeah, whatever. But then you think about it, Bobby got the win at SummerSlam. He's been essentially getting at this man the whole time up until this pay-per-view. He's attacked his son. It's like Goldberg was gonna eventually get his win. Not only that though, I was afraid it was going to be like a few spears and jackhammer and call it a day. It wasn't that. Bobby still looked pretty strong. They had to use a lot of weapons, and even the Hurt Business came out. Bobby still looked strong, and how the match ended was Goldberg speared him off the stage.
Yeah, I saw
You
that.
know, you know what I mean. So I understand what you're saying. All these years, and specifically this year, you built him to be really big, but Bobby was going to take the L eventually,
I
and
mean,
it's
I get
Goldberg.
that.
You know what I mean?
I
Mm-hmm.
get that, but what does that does for Goldberg? Like Goldberg doesn't need that, and then, like you said, yeah, Bobby looked strong, but Goldberg looked stronger because you did way more damage to Goldberg, and he still found out a win. Essentially, he had a 3-on-1 at one point, and he still found a way to win. You know what I mean? Like, to me, that just hurts that booking.
I
And
don't
also,
think so.
I think
Go ahead.
because Bobby's gonna get that win back. When?
But when you, but you, but you,
We gotta
but
see.
we're
I
gonna
understand
take.
we gotta see, But like,
Because it's just like we're gonna this next year. We're probably not gonna be even. It's not gonna be a thought. It's just like it was what it was. He got to spar with a Hall of Famer. He and the thing is, at least he got a win. So
Goldberg
it
didn't
could
get
have been. I'm not saying Goldberg did. I'm just saying at least Bobby got his win, because it could have been a whole thing where it was a one and done feud and Bobby didn't get a win. Then we really would have been complaining. So
And then on top of that, I didn't like the finish for the Becky, Sasha, and Bianca. This was your chance to get the SmackDown title off of Becky and create something for Becky and Bianca on Raw. And you
yeah.
didn't pull the trigger. Same way that, Bianca should have beat Charlotte this past Monday. And
Well,
you
yeah.
didn't pull the trigger. Like,
Yeah.
they did this. I mean, we could get into it now. That's basically the next segment where
Well,
you basically got this.
Hold on, before you continue, because you said quick on Impact. So, because I don't mind ending this whole conversation.
Okay. I got you. My bad. Real quick, I watched Impact last night. It was I watched at least half of it. I'm not gonna say I watched the entire thing, because I completely was like indulging life. But real quick, shout out to Inspiration. They won the Impact Women's Tag Team Championship on their first match on Impact.
Why didn't you tell me? I completely forgot about that.
Yo, like I said, I was lost in life. Like, I was like, oh, Jug, it's still on, and like, people was tweeting about it. They started late. What happened was they started after they started at 10 o'clock, so they basically started after Dynamite finished. So as soon as Dynamite went off, they started their pay-per-view. Shout out to Awesome Kong. She got inducted into the Hall of Fame last night as well. I gotta watch the speech. I heard it was an amazing speech by Gail Kim. But yeah, shout out to Inspiration. They won the tag team titles, the new tag team champions. The Good Brothers retained. Moose won not Moose. Jordan Grace won the title, the new title. I think the Digital Media something title. Excuse me for not remembering. Mickie James won the Women's Impact title last night, beating Deonna Purrazzo in a very great match. Like, that match was amazing. Like,
oh, we gotta. This sounds really good. I gotta watch.
You gotta watch that. You gotta watch that match, and the match lasted longer than all of the Queen's tournament. And the crazy thing is that the night ended with Christian losing the title to Josh Alexander. And even after the match finished against, the Walking Weapon, they closing out, he had his family in the ring, and out of nowhere, Moose cashes in and pins him in front of his family in the ring to win the 10-day Impact title. That chick is crazy. I'm like, yo, what's happening right now?
See, like, before we get into the last topic, quickly, like, people, it's this war against WWE and AEW, but
yeah,
there's a promotion, there's a few promotions that's bubbling under, like, that's trying to get back into the limelight. So that's what's up.
So Moose won Call Your Shot trophy, basically cashing in wherever he wants. And he cashed in right after. Mind you, this man is celebrating in the ring with his family. His son is in there. His wife is in there. They're hugging, showing the title. And yeah,
I'm a little mad. You're spoiling it. Well, not spoiling it, but
I'm sorry.
No, it's cool. I gotta watch it. That's crazy.
Trey Miguel won the X Division Championship. I heard that was an amazing match as well in the triple threat. And then it was one more title, like Jordan Grace. I want to get the name of the title correctly, because it was a new title, and it was dope to see that Jordan Grace won the title. But yeah, that was the night, man, and it was a dope match. It was a dope night for those guys, and I just wanted to touch on that a little bit. And yeah, if you haven't watched Impact, you need to watch Impact. It was a great night.
But yeah, just to end off, because we're going a little bit over time, going back to what we was discussing in regards to how you said you didn't like the ending of Sasha, Bianca, and Becky. Yeah. I think we all saw this coming once Bianca lost to Charlotte on Raw, which I've heard reports that Charlotte was willing to drop the title to Bianca. 1, 2. So after that match happened, which was really good between those two, I knew that what was going to happen in regards to, obviously Becky was going to retain. She retained like a heel would retain. So I'm not upset in that sense. Um, but as like everybody was very annoyed in the sense of we're doing the whole title exchange thing. I wasn't necessarily annoyed just because it was expected, and it's just like a lot of people were saying that they need to rename the titles, and I was just like, I'm not knocking anybody's opinion, but what does that do instead of exchanging the titles?
because
Go ahead.
because a lot of times when, like, first of all, like you said earlier with AEW, this is lazy booking. You know that you're gonna,
Correct.
draft two people to different brands, then you have to find a unique way to do this. When they did this with the New Day and Street Profits last year, people were upset because it was just like, all right, like he's gonna give titles away now, like, you know what I mean? Because this counts as a reign technically, because now you're on a whole nother brand. So you just handing over another, title reign. And then two, it was more so like, again, you could have been more creative about this. When they say that, change the names to, Universal and World, it stops the thing that if the Universal Champion gets drafted to Raw, they could take their title to Raw because most likely 9 times out of 10, the champion from Raw is gonna get drafted to SmackDown. You know what I mean? So it kind of stops that whole title exchanging, especially your World Heavyweight Championship. You're just gonna pass it over. Like that to me is just like, again, lazy booking. You had weeks in event. We've known that these people got drafted to different brands in the past 3-4 weeks. You probably know before that they was getting drafted to different shows. You had enough time to figure out something unique to do. Even if it was last night, when they announced that they was gonna do a title exchange, everybody's like, all right, maybe it's gonna be a swerve. Even I held out a hope, like, all right, maybe it's gonna be something, winner takes all match, or somebody like, nah, before you leave this brand, I need to challenge you one more time and pull off a win. You know what I'm saying? Like, something.
Yeah. Give us something, please.
Right, please.
Yeah.
Like, you had weeks to figure this out, and this is what we get.
You know what?
That was the whole thing.
I hear what you're saying, and I agree 1,000%. The only reason why I wasn't frustrated, just because I was like, it's WWE. At this point, I can't expect when they, it sucks when they do something great and it's like, oh shit, and then we're so taken aback by it, which is crazy because it shouldn't be that. But at this point, it's expected. Like, again, I held out hope on Monday. Like I said, when Charlotte and Bianca had their match, I was like, maybe Bianca was gonna win this, right? Maybe she's gonna, and then we're gonna do something creative at Crown Jewel and get this thing popping.
Right. That's another thing. Both titles gonna be on the line at you know what I'm saying? Like, there was opportunities.
There was opportunities there. But when Bianca lost, and she lost, the way she lost, she lost the way she lost on Monday, I was like, yeah. So I was just like, all right. And then my thing is, again, being the selfish, biased Sasha fan, I thought, you know what? All right, since they didn't do it that way, chances are Sasha is going to lose at Saudi. And I'm just thinking long-term booking in the sense of they're gonna obviously run back Sasha and Charlotte.
Right.
Obviously Fox is in on Sasha since they went to Fox. That there was, I'm thinking Royal Rumble. Finally get your Royal Rumble win in St. Louis. This is going to be the main event at Mania, or even if it's not the main event, but it's going to be the match: Charlotte versus Sasha versus Charlotte at Mania. So that's what I'm thinking. So that's why when Saudi happened, I just watched it not for a result, just to watch it. So like I said, it didn't phase me. SmackDown didn't phase me in regards to in regards to all of that. But outside of that, we now know there's a little bit controversy in regards to that whole segment. I don't know if you want to go ahead and talk about it.
So essentially, as the reports have it, is that Becky is supposed to take the title from Charlotte, do the Becky 2-belt situation, and then give the title to Sonya to give to Charlotte. Charlotte didn't like the idea because she felt like it made her look weak. So she wasn't really for that idea. So what ended up happening is, as everybody saw, when Becky went to go take the title from Charlotte, Charlotte drops the title like on the floor kind of situation, which threw the entire segment for a loop. And you can tell like Sonya looks confused and
Becky made a face. Yeah, Becky made a face.
So then now she can't do her Becky 2 belt situation. So now, then this turns into Becky throwing the belt at Charlotte after she got the Raw title. And it's just like...
And then Charlotte had to get back on course because obviously it to bring out Sasha.
But then even when Sasha came out, there's reports that whole situation, did you feel left out, was a shoot. And, no, not
did you feel left out.
Sasha calling her the B word was a shoot. Like... like that's like there's reports that all of that fell into annoyance because what you were saying?
She said, "Oh, Charlotte, are you jealous?" And then Charlotte said, "Yeah." I don't know. Listen, again, this is me being the biased Sasha fan. I've never find Sasha to have such an ego that she would try to make anyone look bad. There's always that report. I understand in regards to the dynamics. I would leave Sasha out of that in the sense that she came out here, she said her thing. I think the main issue at the end of the day, it was between Charlotte and Becky. And my issue...
I feel it's not just Charlotte and Becky. I feel like it's Charlotte in the locker room in general.
Like okay,
we seen Sonya was kind of something, kind of give her a side eye. And even when Charlotte took the shot at Sasha, you kind of see Sasha look at Becky like, "Yo, is she serious right now?" You know what I'm saying? Like,
you said when Charlotte asked Sasha, she felt left out. Go ahead.
Right.
Yeah.
So that made Sasha. You can see it. The annoyance was there between Sasha and Becky. And even how she said bye to Becky was more so like, "I got you." You know what I'm saying? I don't think
that was when she said bye Becky is "I got you." We gotta be careful in the sense. Again, maybe this is me sounding biased, but this was the whole narrative in 2019, making it seem like Sasha was in business for herself, in which they lost the tag team title.
No, but it's not.
No. I know. I'm just saying we have to be careful with that because if you actually look at the segment and when Sasha said bye Becky, and then if you actually watch Talking Smack, Sasha was face. There was nothing cocky or whatever. Literally, and I tweeted this. It was face Sasha was activated. That bye Becky came off as she is now a face because now the dynamic is face and heel. That's the only thing I want to say. I wanted us to be careful in that sense. Maybe it might be me sounding biased or naive. I truly feel that Sasha was the one that had to come in there and reel it back in. I don't think there was necessarily like, she called her a bitch and it was a shoot, this, that, and the third. Now, maybe...
Well, again, that's what I'm saying. Like, reports are, like, the way the people are looking at it is because the way that the segment just unraveled, right? And then to hear what happened backstage as well, where to the point where I'm not getting between who was getting into what. Eventually, Vince had to get Charlotte removed from the backstage area and removed from the building in general. You know what I mean? So it just watching this.
And you saw Andrade say,
right,
F you, WWE. So something happened.
Yeah, something happened backstage, clearly.
Yeah.
And shout out to Andrade Pac, they had an amazing match on Rampage. Shout out to Daniel Bryanson and Suzuki, they had an amazing. We just forgot to. There's a lot happened this past week. Just want to shout those two things out real quick. If you didn't watch them, watch them. But definitely, yeah, like. The whole dynamic around Charlotte is crazy right now because if you think about it, a couple of weeks ago, the situation with Nia Jax, the whole fight inside the ring, and then now to this situation now with people that's supposed to be your friends. I mean, even though they've had interviews before lately that said they're not as close as they used to be, but it's just like, really, this is what you're gonna go through right now with these girls? You know what I'm saying? Like,
and I hate to. I don't. At the end of the day, we don't know Charlotte.
Right.
We don't know Ashley. Right. So I can't tell you her personality or who she is as a person. But it just seems as though that, like prime example, you just said that Becky and Charlotte are not as close as they used to be. And why is that? Is that because Becky is not like her lackey anymore? You know what I mean? That you get what I'm saying? It seems like when someone again, this is if this is
We're just
speculation and
talking.
it's wrong, they're
Yeah,
just
yeah,
talking. It just seems like the dynamic changed in regards to friendship when it seems like someone gained success, right? And that's weird to me. And it just seems like I tweeted like this is stupid. Like
yeah,
you got in your feelings because okay, cool. If you didn't, maybe the title exchange, dumb, lazy, cool. But because someone wanted to hold the title for 2.5 seconds and be Becky Two Belts for 2.5 seconds, you had an issue with that. That's like
yeah,
that's so minute,
yeah,
like for that to be this be even a thing. You know
yeah.
what I mean? Because then at one point, and this is right before we went on, I said we'll discuss it. This goes back all the way from, if you want to say NXT or even on the main roster. A lot of people saying, well, this is Charlotte doesn't want to be here in WWE. You said that, and she wants to be in AEW with her fiance, whatever. And it's just like this goes back to what people have been saying since 2016. You've given Charlotte everything.
Yeah,
Everything. She's the most decorated women's wrestler. She's won every title.
yeah.
She's accomplished everything you can think of. Main event WrestleMania has won WrestleMania matches.
Royal Rumble.
Royal Rumble, tag team titles, NXT title, both women's titles. The only thing she hasn't accomplished, obviously now with this Queen's Crown thing, if they decide to continue with it, or and Money in the Bank. She's even faced Trish and beat Trish. So
Yeah,
you face a legend and beat that legend. There is
yeah,
nothing to do. You've handed her everything since 2016. So there is nothing. You even had to break Oscar streak.
yeah.
So you can't
Can't
you
forget
can't
that.
you right. You not only gave some probably. I'm sure she's a lovely person, but there has to be some type of ego trip or power trip. It like, yo, I deserve this, that, and the third. You know what I mean? So, and then there's nothing for her to do. So she's probably bored. I'm sure she still loves wrestling and wants to accomplish more. But I'm pretty sure at this particular point she's bored in WWE because there's not a challenge. Maybe this whole part two of Sasha and Charlotte is gonna reinvigorate her in regards to her being in WWE. But there's nothing left to accomplish, and you've given her so much that if I wouldn't be surprised if like, yo, you know what I mean? Like I have this, there's an ego around it.
Right.
So now we fast forward to Friday, and this whole debacle happens. It's
Yeah,
like it's gone to your head that you're
yeah,
this, and
definitely.
and someone shouldn't look better than you.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
then it's just, and if you look at, we've talked about this too. If you look at her past matches, she hasn't been in it in a sense, right? She hasn't been
she gets
selling
up
like
for
she should.
she
She
gets
hasn't
up for
been,
quality
yeah,
people like Bianca or whoever.
right. But even then, she's not selling as much as she used to. She's not, you know what I mean? She's not. You can tell that there's a difference in her approach in her matches now.
And,
And it
yeah.
just sucks that you just sitting here and you're watching somebody like go down this route. You know what I mean? And you're used to some quality from them, and it's just because of attitude. And it's just like, come on, guys, like what are we doing out here?
And then I was having this conversation in regards to, let's say she did go to AEW, and I'm like, cool, but do you really think
That's, do you want that in the locker room?
exactly? Do you want that in the locker room? And again, she might be a lovely person, right? And it's no issues. But the thing is, if we're already saying that there's a lack of, in regards to Charlotte's work when it comes to lesser talent, AEW doesn't have not one wrestler that can go that's on her level. Charlotte's not the person to elevate newer talent. That's not her thing. She's
Right,
that's Bailey, that's Sasha, that's their thing. That's even Natalia's thing to elevate newer
right.
talent. That's not Charlotte's thing. So do you really want Charlotte? Do you really want her to do that in AEW? So it's just like, I don't
And
know.
even the attitude part, because now you're falling into like the whole entitlement part
Well,
of it. With
maybe it might be a thing just you're not being happy. A lot of people aren't happy. Maybe they need a new setting. It's
yeah,
kind of like when we're at work, we need a new setting. So I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt. But
right.
outside of that, it's just like, then, like you said, the entitlement in the sense of, well, I need someone on my level that I can work with, right? and AEW doesn't have that. So it's just like, what do you do to fix this situation? Because you can't even sit here and tell Charlotte to like, all right, take a couple of months off because she's gonna come back a couple of months later, and it's nothing new. There's nothing new
Right.
to her
She's
character,
done
whether
that.
it's heel or face. It's there's nothing else to do, and it's bittersweet because unless they decide to like get this whole four horsewomen feud going or four horsewomen stable thing going, there's nothing to do. There's
Nothing at
nothing
all.
to do. And then
Nothing at all.
unless I don't want to focus so much on Charlotte, you know, Becky too. I'm sure, after these couple of years, there's some type of, how can I put it without like I'm sure some type of level of success goes to
Right.
people's head. And Becky
Right.
probably feels like, I'm not tolerating this shit.
I don't gotta do it no more.
You know what I
I've
mean?
done it for.
I'm
I've
not
done it through
second to.
NXT. I've done it. I've done it
Yeah,
in the beginning of this. I'm not doing this
I'm
no
not
more. I'm the
I'm not
man.
second to, exactly.
I'm the
Big
man.
time
Like
Bex. So I don't know. It's just really unfortunate because the four horsewomen is obviously
the
are
pillar.
gonna go down. Yeah, the pillar of the women's division, and they're gonna go down as some of the great not only women wrestlers but wrestlers of all time. And it's just unfortunate that WWE can't come up with better scenarios where it looks good for
Everybody.
everybody. So I'm hoping they figure it out. This doesn't make me excited for honestly for Becky and Charlotte at
Bianca.
Survivor Series. No, Becky
Oh,
and
for the
and
no, the Survivor Series joint. The Survivor Series joint. I
yeah,
get you.
Becky and Bianca, I think is gonna help elevate Raw along with other people. But in regards to Survivor Series, I don't think anybody wants to is really like, oh, Charlotte and
Nah, people
Becky.
been looking for it. Nah, everybody's been on Twitter like, yeah, nah, I want this.
I
Nah, I
don't
want
know.
this. That's why people was thinking like this is a work. I'm like, this
Uh,
is not a work.
I don't know.
This is not what they were trying to do. Y'all giving
I
them too
saw
much credit.
like I said, we follow different crowds, but on my end, people were like, I don't want to see this shit again because we've seen Becky and Charlotte again, and it's not
Right.
necessarily they had the greatest matches. A lot of people can say Evolution was this, that, and the third, but in hindsight, Evolution
Hindsight.
was more so it was the hype around Evolution and the
Right.
man or whatever. That's why people were so about that match. But in regards to
Yeah,
the,
I had the same thing. Some people was like, "Nah, I don't want to see this again." But then after this little situation between them on SmackDown, like, "All right, now I want to see it." I'm like, "Why? It's the same thing. It's gonna happen. Like, this isn't. What you think? You're gonna start shooting in the ring? They're not gonna shoot in the ring. We get the same thing over and over again. Like, I don't want to see this. Like, give me something new. Like,
right, and
let
it's
Sasha
they're
and
on
Bianca get their 1-on-1 finally or something. Like,
yeah, they're going to be on separate brands. I'm pretty sure cooler heads will prevail, and then when it's time to have the match, they'll have the match. I don't know, unless they can do something now to the. I was saying this yesterday. It'd be cool to see someone like this. Would be cool for Charlotte. Let's do an invasion storyline. Like you go to Seth and Becky's house, right? You know what I mean. Like we've never seen a woman,
right? Yes, we
violate in that
have.
sense.
Bianca pulled up on Zelina during that Twitch.
Anyway, outside of that, yeah. So maybe if they can work this in their favor, which I don't think they could because WWE is WWE, then
Oh,
cool. But
sidebar.
I'm not.
Crazy. Crazy that you say that. When I was watching the Bound for Glory last night on Impact, apparently Deonna Purrazzo pulled up on Mickey James at her ranch, and they had like a fight in the barn. Like, I'm like, when did this happen? Like, I gotta start watching this a little bit more often. Like,
But that's dope because why women can get down too, right? So
right.
I don't know.
But it
We'll
was like
see.
in the horses stable fighting like hay all over the place and like
That's what I'm
that shit
saying.
was
Well,
crazy.
like women can pull up too. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's
We'll
dope.
see. But
Before we close it out, yeah, Jordan Grace, she won the Digital Media Championship at Bound for Glory last night. If
shout
you
out
haven't
to
checked
her.
out Bound for Glory, please do. I need to watch the beginning part, so I'm gonna go back and watch that. I think
Facts.
we're done discussing our topics for today, right?
Yes, that is our show
Everything.
because you talk way too much.
Wow.
So that is our show. If you haven't already, please follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Miss Jenna Baby BAYBEE or at
Blue Magic Grind, spell how it sound. Yeah.
You can follow
Look
us
out
at
for
the
some.
Mixed Tag Show as
Follow us
well.
to the Mixed Tag Show. We make some more announcements this week in terms of Put You On. Yeah, thank you for everybody that watched the last episode of Put You On. We didn't get a chance to say that with Bougie. That was a great episode. There was like a lot of fun in that.
For sure.
On Twitch, make sure you follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/the Mixed Tag Show. And we'll give you another announcement in terms of Put You On. And on that note, I think that's all right. Right? Peace.
Peace.
Tag show.